Good morning. My name is Kate Franta, and on behalf of First Unitarian Church of Wilmington, Delaware, I welcome you to our online worship service. Wherever you are on your journey, you are welcome here. Welcome, no matter the hue of your skin or the origin of your ethnicity. Welcome to you, no matter whom you love. For more information about us or to sign up for the e-newsletter, please visit www.firstuuwilm.org. Great news. We are reopening to in-person, in-building worship next week. Yay! We are following strict infection control measures, though. These include a vaccination requirement to enter the building, plus everyone who enters the building wearing an N95 or KN95 mask. We are following social distancing and staying within the members of your household. You may upload a copy of your COVID vaccination card on our website, and again, that's firstuuwilm.org. Can't wait to sit together with you again. Today, we have a special treat. Our speaker is local author Sharon Moore, who will invite us to step back with her as she regales us with stories from her life. Welcome, Sharon Moore. You can meet her in person today here at noon. Please pop over for a book signing with Sharon Moore. You'll be able to purchase your copy and perhaps copies for each of your friends for $20 each. Please come to the church at noon today so Ms. Moore can actually see all of you who are watching this morning. And now, let us prepare ourselves in body and mind for our worship together. Thank you, Kathy. Unitarian Universalists affirm and promote 7 principles. One of these is the goal of world community with peace, liberty, and justice for all. This month, our Soul Matters theme is widening the circle. And what does that really mean? I think of our 6th principle of a world community when I think of widening the circle. I imagine peace and justice across all nations. And I also see us sitting with each other, just being present to each other and sharing our stories. What does world community mean to you? Let us contemplate that as we call us to our circle with the words of Reverend Dr. David Breeden. We gather into this circle. We gather into this circle of care, to dream, to envision, to embody and achieve the compassion we dream, the justice we envision, the dignity of each in an ever-growing circle of love and justice. Now, if you have a chalice at home, I invite you to join me by lighting it now as I read Reverend Julianne Lepp's words. We seek our place in the world and the answers to our heart's deep questions. As we seek, may our hearts be open to unexpected answers. May the light of our chalice remind us that this is a community of warmth, of wisdom, and welcoming of multiple truths. Please join me in affirming our mission. First Unitarian Church of Wilmington is a beloved community that nourishes minds and spirits, fights injustice, and transforms the world through loving action.
Good morning, and thank you for the time and space to share a bit of my story. I want to do a background for you before reading the story or sharing more about it. My maternal grandfather, Hosea Singleton, left Arkansas after a serious conflict with the person called the overseer. My grandmother was picking cotton when he rode into the field. He stopped right beside her on his horse and asked her, why was she picking the cotton like that? She told him that was the way her husband had told her and showed her how to pick the cotton. Immediately, he sped down the lane to where my grandfather was. All the family could hear from where they were was, yes, sir, my grandfather was saying. Sharecropping was an unjust labor practice. Being humiliated on top of that was unbearable for my grandfather. The very next morning, he left Arkansas, telling his wife he would return when he could or send for her and the daughters. Eventually, they relocated to Wilmington, Delaware. But the trauma they'd known didn't remain behind. The experiences they lived showed up in little and major ways. There was progress, yes, but there were setbacks, love, and losses, too. Some of those are woven into the stories that I've shared. This morning, however, I'm sharing a highlight. I invite you to step back with me to the 50s, the 1950s. I know for some that will be like yesterday, and for others, it will be a stretch. But my mother used to drop us off on her way to work at my maternal grandmother's house. It was a treat being with her. Sometimes when we walked up the steps, before we even opened the screen door, we could smell yeast rolls rising. We always had warm breakfasts with her, and when she made rolls, we could eat as many as we wanted. Another good thing about staying with her was that there was a playground right across the street from her. They were offering a doll contest that year. I felt sorry for the other girls in the neighborhood because I was going to enter my doll Patsy in the playground contest. I even bought her little pearl earrings from Hoy's Five and Dime store. But the main thing was my grandmother had made an ensemble for Patsy. I didn't own an ensemble, but my grandmother made a dress for her with a matching coat. Somehow or the other, I was late for the doll contests. When I got to the park, I immediately saw girls with ribbons on their chests. I knew the contest was over. Tears began to well in my eyes, and a next-door neighbor told me that there was going to be a talent show and suggested that I sing in the talent show. I did. I sang, and I even won. But I was worried about going back home and telling my grandmother I missed the talent show. Somehow or another, I felt that I missed the doll show. I felt that the win would be for the two of us, since she had made that beautiful ensemble for my doll. Instead, she hugged me and told me it was all right, and she was glad that other people had found out something very important about me. And now, the origins of Patsy. For years, I kept the best gift I'd ever received, Patsy, the chocolate brown-skinned doll with knees that bent and arms that moved, plus hair that flowed from her scalp. For over 2 decades, she sat on the shelf in the receiving closet of our family home. As an adult, I acquired several dolls, even sponsored an assembly program when I taught, was a curator of black dolls. All the students in the school were invited to bring a doll to school that day. Curious one day about my favorite doll, I asked my mother where she had moved her. I noticed she was not in the closet. "What?" she asked. I repeated my question. "She's been in the closet for years. I just threw her away. Garbage was collected today. I can't believe you're asking me now about that doll." I was heartbroken, but I had to acknowledge I had left the doll there for years. I then asked her, where has she gotten the doll? "I didn't buy that doll for you. Your father bought it for you on layaway," she chuckled. She told me Dad saw the doll in the storefront window of a well-known drugstore on the east side. For over 40 years, I thought my mother had given me the doll. To think that Dad would know how important it was for me to have a doll that looked like me moved me. Touched by such generosity and wisdom, I drove to the store before going home that day. I wanted to see if by chance anyone in the store. I noticed when I walked into the store, there were changes that I noticed. Hair products in the showcase boxes and minor toiletries lined the shelves. No one was in the store when I entered, but soon a man arrived from the back and asked, could he help me? I grinned and apologetically asked, I was curious if anyone here would know about the time when dolls were sold here years ago. He smiled and said, I do. I used to go with my grandfather every year to the toy show in New York City. It was a big event. I was about 10. He placed the order for the doll. When the dolls arrived, he placed them in the window and hung a printed sign with it that said, Walk Me. She was 3 feet tall. I thanked him with tears in my eyes and left. 3 generations of men had run that drugstore, and I came on the day that the grandson, the one who had gone with his grandfather when the doll was ordered, was there. I'm grateful for men who follow the initiative to do good, and for grandmothers who show love and compassion. Grandma's hands clapped in church on Sunday morning. Grandma's hands played the tambourine so well. Grandma's hands used to issue out a warning. She'd say, baby, don't you run so fast. You might fall on a piece of glass. Might be snakes in that grass. My grandma's hands. Grandma's hands soothed the local unwed mother. Grandma's hands used to ache sometime and swell. Grandma's hands used to lift her chin and tell her, she'd say, baby, Grandma, understand that you really love that man. Put yourself in Jesus' hands, Grandma. Grandma's hands used to hand me a piece of candy. Grandma's hands picked me up each time I fell. Grandma's hands, boy, they really came in handy. She'd say, Anna, don't you spank that gal. What you wanna whip her for? She didn't drop that apple core, but I don't have Grandma anymore. When I get to heaven, I'll look for my grandma's hands.
Thank you, Sharon. Thank you. Excuse me. Now, I ask you to transition and get comfortable. Perhaps put your feet on the floor. Adjust your spine so you feel supported and strong. And let's wander back in our memories. Can you still see your grandmother's hands? Are you a grandparent? What do your hands look like right now? When you look at your hands, can you see the other hands that brought you into this world, that cared for you, that fed you? How far back can you remember in your family tree, either your birth family or your chosen family? Now I want you to go back to your favorite toy you had as a child. What's the first thing that comes to mind? What did that toy mean to you? Where did it come from? Holding the images of your ancestors' hands and your favorite toy, gently place your hands on your heart. Breathe in any peaceful, loving memories you may have. And if this is difficult, just breathe in the light of our chalice, knowing that we are a community of compassion and peace. Let us now turn our attention to others as we widen our circle. Who might benefit from the care of our circle right now? I invite you to say their names or type them in the chat so that they may be held in love and light. Tatiana. May all those named within and without find peace and healing on this day.
Glory, Spirit of Ukraine, shines and lives forever. Blessed by fortune, brotherhood, we'll stand up together. Like the dew before the sun, enemies will fade. We will further rule and prosper in our promised land. We will lay our soul and body for the cherished freedom. Cossack blood will raise the nation of the joyous people. For the liberty that falls, stars ardently from sand to dawn. let no alien power in our common home. Ancient Dnieper and Black Sea, army now rejoice, and Ukraine will see daylight and live by fortune's choice. We will lay our soul and body for the cherished freedom. Cossack blood will rise the nation, all the joyous people. Passion and hard-working hands through bright future true. Song of freedom loud and clear guides us all way through. Over mountains and steppes it flows, over ages told. Valorous Ukraine stands strong in a thriving world. We will lay our soul and body for the cherished freedom. Cossack blood will raise the nation of the joyous people. We will lay our soul and body for the cherished freedom. Cossack blood will raise the nation of the joyous people.
I was impressed by the statement made at a diversity workshop that I attended. Emily Stiles said this: "Our lives are like textbooks and deserve to be treated as such." That impressed me so much. It seems like even with 15 years of retirement, I have been collecting other people's stories. The third chapter in my book is called Stories Worth Repeating. And I'd like to share with you this very special story from a grandmother. It's called Florinda's Legacy Letter. Dear Oscar and Lyric, this is Nana Florence, and I want to tell you about my mom, your great-grandmother Florence. I have her name because both of us were named after my great-grandmother, following the Italian tradition. All of the relatives on my side of the family have a daughter named Florence. I want you to know, if I were living in Italy, I would be called Florinda. Your great-grandmother was called Florinda for many years, and sometimes I'm still called Florinda also. So Florinda it is, as I tell you her story. Florinda was born in 1905 with a very modest beginning in Chicago, Illinois. She moved 14 times with her parents and brother before they settled in Vineland, New Jersey. Florinda was the oldest girl. She stayed close to her mom in order to help. 9 of her siblings lived. After 8th grade, school was no longer an option for her. Instead, farm chores, cooking, canning, and laundry without indoor running water were the things she did to help maintain the household. Sewing and knitting were also skills she was taught. When Paul DeRosa arrived from Italy, he was interested in marrying her. Since he came from the family's hometown, from a good family, whom her parents knew, they arranged the marriage. Florinda, the dutiful daughter, did not object. He was 29, and she was 17. There are many stories to tell during our early years when we lived in the small quarters. In 1945, we lived in a home with a store in front that was Florinda's grocery store. All of us helped there. We never owned our home, and by then, Paul and Florinda believed we ought to move and find a lovely home. As World War II ended, Florinda searched for the proper home. She realized that there was a housing shortage caused by the veterans' return. The idea of a new business occurred to her. She began to explore possibilities as Paul continued to earn a modest income in the grocery store. On borrowed money, Florinda began buying old homes and improving them. Then she bought land to build new homes. Her first two were small, prefabricated. They arrived with all the directions and materials to build, something like Lincoln logs. She hired the plumber, the carpenter, mason, painters, and bought whatever was needed to complete the two houses. They were sold as soon as they were completed. Often she awoke and planned her day by 4 a.m. By 7, she'd spoken with the contractors and was on the job by 8. She addressed the contractors formally using Mr., and she remained Mrs. DeRosa to them for 35 years. Almost without exception, she sold her homes by being on projects all day Saturday and Sunday for more years than I wish to recall. In 1952, Paul retired from the grocery store and joined her. Together they formed DeRosa Builders Corporation and Florence DeRosa as president. He was 65 and she was 52. They built as many as 20 homes and townhouses. Their homes dot the landscape where we finally settled. All 4 of my siblings were married in the home that Florinda built for us. I want you to know that one of your older female cousins makes millions of dollars a year making from an office closet in her bedroom. She paves roads for a living. Like her great-grandmother, she's doing non-traditional work for a woman. So, dear loves, enjoy your lives, Lyric, and know that you can do things just as other family members around you have. Best wishes to you, Nana Florence. So as I said, I have collected some other stories from individuals looking at the things that they have done with their lives. And I would like to thank you for being interested in StoryCorps. So I know that some of you are busy interviewing each other, and I hope you will continue, and maybe some of you will even write something similar to a legacy letter for those in your family. We'd like to ask that you think of a grandmother or grandmothers in your lives, or even an adult that was not family related, not biological, but nurtured you, loved you, supported you. If you would, please enter the full name of that person. We may be able to get a name or two from the chat, but I'd like to ask and stress that you write the full name of the person. Doris Lawson, another writer who was a travel writer, shared with us in a workshop that sometimes, in certain cases, it's been years since the whole name of that person has even been mentioned. So if you would, please do so. Write the full name of the person that nurtured you.
My 2 grandmothers were Virginia Ellis Franta on my father's side and my still living 99-year-old Marguerite Holkesvig Goswish, great name, but she is happy, alive, and well outside of Cleveland. So I am very lucky. Thank you. Fellow First You folks, it's time for our stewardship moment, and it's that time of year that our pledge drive is in full swing. Pledging is such a wonderful way to commit to this community. No matter how you enjoy First Unitarian Church, now is the time to give with intention. Your pledge supports our services, our human rights activities, and other social justice work that we do here. It supports religious exploration for our First U kids, and it helps us provide opportunities for spiritual growth through our small group ministries, like the Soul Matters and Connection Circles. Church member Bill Hardam explains why he pledges here.
Hi, I'm Bill Hardam, and I'd like to share a few thoughts with you about giving with intention. I've been a member of First U for well over 40 years now, and I have a hard time remembering exactly why I joined. I think it was more about what I didn't want in church than what I did want, but I certainly know why I've remained. The comfort and peace derived from being in a community of people who never give up the search for truth and meaning, and whose interest is larger than self-interest. But it feels like the pandemic, by making us go virtual, is trying to tear us, this beloved community, apart. Thus, it is crucial for me and all of us to apply the glue of increasing financial support for the staff and technology to keep us together and thriving.
Thank you, Bill. You can pledge through links on our website at firstuuwilm.org, excuse me, or you can print a paper form from the website under Giving with Intention Annual Campaign for Stewardship. For all of you who have already pledged, we thank you for supporting our mission. Meanwhile, please allow me to remind you that there are a few different ways that are very easy to give to First U right now. As you can see on the screen, you can mail a paper check to our street address on Halstead Road. You can go to the church website and give there, or you can utilize the Vanco mobile app on your smart device. Thank you for your generous and kind support that keeps the lights on and the services streaming, among many, many other things. And now, please join me in dedicating our offering to the work of this congregation, which is weaving a tapestry of love and action. We dedicate our lives and these, our offerings.
From you I receive, to you I give, together we share, and from this we
From you I receive, to you I give, together we share, and from this we live.
Beloved community, cherish and honor your ancestors. Share your stories in a way that is comfortable for you. Mine is writing, yours might be with art, music, or another form. Also, hold those who are willing to give their bodies for freedom in your thoughts.
As we come to the end of our service, I remind you to please come to the church now, Sunday morning at noon, so that you can meet Sharon in person. She's fabulous. We get to hear her sing one more time right now, but then you can get a copy of her book and read all the other stories she's collected there and get her to sign, and it will be a really wonderful time today at noon here at First U in person. So as we extinguish our chalice, if you do the honors, please, I hope you never lose your sense of wonder. When you get the choice to sit it out or dance, I hope you dance. Tell me who wants to look back on their years and wonder where those years have gone. These are the words of Leanne Womack, and we are about to hear that in her song, I Hope You Dance. Let us look back on our stories. Let us listen with open hearts to the stories of our neighbors, and let us learn all we can about the interweaving of our lives, and let us revel in it.
This is for all of you. Trials, concerns. I hope you never lose your sense of wonder. Get your fill to eat, but always keep that hunger. May you never take one single breath for granted. God forbid love ever leave you empty-handed. I hope you still feel small when you stand beside the ocean. Whenever one door closes, I hope one more opens. Promise you'll give faith a fighting chance. And when you get the choice to sit it out or dance, I hope you dance. I hope you dance. I hope you never fear the mountains in the distance. Never settle for the path of least resistance. Living might mean taking chances, they're worth taking. Loving might be a mistake, but it's worth making. Don't let some hell-bent heart leave you bitter. When you come close to selling out, reconsider. Give the heavens above more than a passing glance. And when you get the choice to sit it out or dance, I hope you dance. I hope you dance. Tell me who wants to look back on their life and wonder where those years have gone. I hope you still feel small by the ocean. Whenever one door closes, I hope one more opens. Promise you'll give faith a fighting chance. And when you get the choice to sit it out or dance, dance. I hope you'll dance.